The ancient Jews used Hebrews in the numerical system, eh? Each letter's a number. Like
G. Nathan Barnes. So, one of the positions that I hold in regards to biblical text and how it originally was constructed, basically, in a nutshell, was not handed down utilizing grammatical interpretation, connotation, a grammatical format, so to speak. It had to have been handed down using a mathematical connotation. And why do I say this? A couple of reasons. First reason is this: mathematics is a language. It is an all-pervasive, all-encompassing language, meaning whether I speak a totally different dialect and language than you, despite that fact, if we sit down and make an attempt to communicate utilizing numbers or mathematics, as long as both of us are versed, then we can express ourselves to each other utilizing a mathematical base. We are not bound by the limits that a grammatical format or, again, connotation would bind us to. Another intelligent life form that traverses from one end of the universe to the other, if they were to land on Earth and come to discover one of these biblical texts, if these biblical texts are indeed or were indeed originally constructed using a mathematical base, that intelligent life form, as long as, again, they are versed when it comes to the language of mathematics, can totally understand and conceptualize the axioms and the truths that make up the entirety of biblical text. The Supreme Intelligence would not utilize any one specific or respective language, grammatical language, in order to express divine absolute truths. In the same manner that this intelligence constructed the physical universe using a mathematical format, which is evident, the entire universe is a mathematical construct. Examination, calculation, and expression. So if this same intelligence were to relate truths to mankind, it would not be offered to us using a, again, grammatical base. A mathematical base would be utilized. That's first and foremost. Secondly, most religious scholars assert that their book, again, regarding the three major religious organizations or faiths, i.e. Christianity, Judaism, Islam. I know particularly Judaism and Islam, religious scholars declare that these books have never been reconfigured as far as the truths and the, again, axioms that have been expressed through biblical text. They are unchanged. They have never been manipulated. Now, that cannot be the case if these truths were offered to us using grammatical, some type of grammatical formatting. Hebrew, English, Arabic, etc., etc. The only way for that assertion to be true on its face is if, again, the religious scripture was constructed mathematically. Why? Because a mathematical truth is as such as long as it does not demonstrate any type of contradictory characteristics. 1 and 1 must always be 2. That can never change. If you try to turn 1 and 1 into 11, it becomes a mathematical fallacy. So that mathematical principle is true due to the fact that those formulas or principles must remain in the same way and fashion that it has since its inception. So again, for religious scholars to proclaim that these books have never been manipulated, again, that can only be true if these books were created using some type of mathematical or numerical connotation. Gematria, which is transforming a letter into, not transforming, but the process of decoding. Here is a letter which represents a number, which represents an absolute divine truth. As those letters grow larger and become words, those words become sentences, sentences into paragraphs, and paragraphs into narratives. Those truths become greater. So again, the fundamental basis of religious text is mathematical in nature. That's the only way that certain propositions can be true in regards to biblical text.